So excited. Pictures are going up on the website now. Everything's looking gorgeous. I'm super excited to show it to you guys here in the next coming weeks. So head over to anythingbusinessshow.com/ZimVentures. Get started for yourself. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hamster Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana, and today we are here with Traynor from Narrow Street Films. Welcome to the show, Terry.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So I wanted to learn all about you. I know you have a pretty interesting history. That's how I kind of been following you without you knowing it for a little bit.
Oh,
just,
cool.
Not weird or anything.
No, not weird at all.
Yeah. So let's get to the history and kind of go from there.
Okay. All right. Well, I blue collar guy. I've been working my whole life, and somewhere along the lines, I started making movies. And I often get asked, "How do you get into filmmaking?" I say, "Well, if you're like me, you were a loser who had no friends, so you stole your parents' camera and made a movie to try and feel cool about yourself." But no, I was always into storytelling and writing and performance, and wrote books, and always wanted to act, and realized that being a 15-year-old boy, no one actually wants to hire you to play the parts you want to play. And so I came down to this conclusion that maybe I'll make the roles that I want to play. And so when I found out that writing scripts took a lot less words than writing books, my little ADD mind was just like on fire. Like, this is great, This takes a lot less words. We can get this done a lot quicker. And so then I just started writing scripts, and then started experimenting with filming. I say experimenting, that's being polite. I failed at creating a couple of short films that I tried to do. And like most artists, you have some sort of like emotional traumatic thing. I got engaged at 17, and then it broke up at 19, and I started a job that I wasn't happy at. And so next thing you know, I'm like, I gotta put all this energy somewhere. And I went back to filmmaking, and I made a film, and it was the most difficult thing I've ever done in my entire life to get that done. And because it's hard, man. It's like, everything, the whole world seems to go against you. Nature seems to go against you. I was actually regaling the tale to someone the other day. Do you remember the Mother's Day flood from, I think it was a Mother's Day flood.
It was 2006?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That weekend, I was supposed to film the last scene for the movie. Okay?
Yeah.
That week, the power went out, power went out. I actually took a day off from work. And I had a location lined up. It was the last scene I was supposed to film for the movie. The location flooded out. The power all went out. And I had 3 days off with a computer I couldn't work off because there was no power. And in the location I couldn't shoot at because it was flooded out. I was miserable. But that was the weekend. And eventually I did get the sequence shot. I finally filmed the last scene. I filmed with 2 cameras. And one of the cameras decided to shit the bed. And so I had to go back and refilm a section of it, even though I couldn't get the actor to come back and do it. So I had to make this really awkward editing. But I fought through, and I got it done. And there was a phrase from Silicon Valley, which is done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
And I had something similar, which was that when it comes to creating your artistic project, you have to find good enough. Because good enough gets the job done.
Yeah.
And we can't make perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect doesn't happen. Perfect happens. We can't make it.
Yeah.
No way in hell we can make it. And if you struggle for that, you'll be, you'll never get anything done.
Yeah, you'll never produce a film.
No, you'll never see it done. Right, yeah. And real creativity doesn't come from freedom. Creativity comes from restriction. You want to find out how good you really are. Do you have kids?
4.
You have 4 kids. You have 4 kids. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's good for you. So this. You don't just give your kid everything.
Yeah.
They're never going to learn that way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to challenge them.
Yeah.
And so one of the greatest gifts I ever had was my dad didn't help me with any of my films at all, and he said that he didn't want me doing this because for him. He wanted me doing this to please him. And you don't really understand that when you're, a 14-year-old kid. His dad's saying no to you. That's all you hear. But as a result, you really kind of get down to the core question of what are you really trying to do? What do you really care about? Yeah. And any one of these people who get famous or anything like that right off the bat, we've seen the story over and over again. They end up going down to a dark place because they can't handle all this fame and fortune. And it's kind of sad because they never had the time to really the struggle to really find out really what it is they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I've sat across from a lot of filmmakers, and I don't know how someone heard about me once. I was still working at the Walmart warehouse, and I get a call from this guy from Connecticut, and he says, "Oh yeah, I want to mentor into you." I'm thinking, "Who the fuck are you? Like, how the fuck did you find out about me?" You know? And I said, "Dude, I can't drive down to Connecticut." I said, "Gladly have a sit down, a cup of coffee with you if you want." He said, "But I work and live in New Hampshire, so it's going to be hard for me to find time to drive down to Connecticut."
Yeah.
I was willing. He said, "Tell you what, I'll drive up there to meet you." I'm like, "Okay, sure, fine." So he drove up from Connecticut and met me after work. Man, I come out. I was working at a warehouse. I had cut-off sleeve T-shirt. You know, I mean, like I couldn't look much more hick. I had glasses, a baseball cap backwards, and like ripped shorts, and you know, and beat up old sneakers. Went to Applebee's. I mean, it was just like we were in Epping. We met up there and we chatted, and he was talking about this film that he wanted to make. I said, "Cool." I said, "Why don't you make it?" "Oh, I can't make it yet." I said, "Do you have a camera?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, well then why don't you go out and make the film?" And he goes, "No, I can't make it." I said, "What's the film?" And essentially it was a Rocky style story. So the most complicated location was a gymnasium.
Yeah.
That had a ring in it. I said, "That's your most difficult location. Everything else is just regular homes, houses, and streets." I said, "So if you can find that gymnasium." He said, "Oh, I already got the gymnasium." I said, "So you already have the gymnasium?" "Right.
Yeah.
You already have the
Why aren't you
gymnasium.
doing it?"
Why aren't you doing this? You know, you already have the camera. You have the script.
Mm-hmm.
What's stopping you?" "Well, I can't." I said, "Why?" You know, "Well, I don't have the money." "Money for what? You have a camera, you have a location.
Yeah.
What do you need money for?" The one thing you absolutely need money for, it's a definite. Money is a commodity. It's not the thing. It's a tool. It's not the tool. And it shouldn't be the reason to do pretty much anything in life. I said, the only thing you absolutely need money for is insurance. And if you run a small enough company, you don't need that much insurance.
Yeah.
It's the only thing you can't cheat on when it comes. That's what you absolutely need money for. Everything else you can, beg, borrow, and steal to get locations and actors and crews and stuff like that. And he said, "Look, I'm willing to work at I'm willing to work for what I to work for my dream. I just don't want to do anything I don't like." That's work.
Yeah.
The thing you don't like is the work. He goes, "No, but I'm willing to work. I just don't want to do anything I don't want to do." I said, "Well, that's the work part." I said, "Do you like loading trucks?" He goes, "No." I said, "Well, tell you what, buddy, when you make a film, you better be good at loading a truck, because that's what you pretty much do all the time. You load with equipment, you unload equipment." I said, "I don't like doing it, but that's the work part." I said, that little fundamental work part. And no one ever stopped. I think someone either told him he couldn't, or someone didn't challenge him to see beyond it. And the one thing my dad did was he challenged me to say, if you really want to do this, then don't say you need my help. Get it done. Find a way to get it done. Be willing to defy me for this.
Yeah.
And so, it's just kind of so as a result, I found out that it wasn't about any type of fame or anything like that. It just, I really liked these stories, and I really had to see them get told, and really had to see them on screen. These are characters I wanted to experience.
Yeah.
And so someone asked me once, "Well, what's your plan with the film company?" I said, "Well, I want to make movies." They said, "Well, you're already doing that." I said, "Yeah, I know." He said, "So I guess you've already accomplished what you want." I said, "Yeah." He goes, I said, "Yeah, I guess I'm doing pretty fucking good." Like, I don't know. I'm like, it's like, it sucks to be you, I guess. I mean, I'm like, I'm happy, and like, but people don't see it like that. They usually do see the fame. They usually do want the fortune. There's nothing wrong with wanting a career and something like that. You should pick something a lot easier than the entertainment industry. There's a lot better, easier ways to make money if that's actually your goal, but they're not allowing prestige to get in the way. And luckily, no one was willing to be nice to me when I was starting out. No, everyone was willing to tell me how crappy they thought my films were. And so with that, you really dig down deep and say, why am I really doing this? Why do I really care?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've run the company ever since then, is trying to find something real, true, and true to the story, true to a genre, true to your crew, true to yourself as a creator.
Yeah.
So like, truth and respect, I think, is the way you gotta make movies. Respect for your audience too. That's a very big thing. I don't think a lot of independent filmmakers have that idea that they really ought to respect the people who, because you're nothing without an audience.
Yeah.
You know, if you got to have respect for the viewers. You know, for their vulnerability and for their desires.
Yeah.
So you have to find somewhere in between to challenge them just a little bit, and to fulfill what they want to another degree, without losing yourself in it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, well, just going down that road, I think that's not even independent. I think a lot of big movies miss that too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because there's always this. Sometimes. I mean, I understand recording a movie to tell a story, and sometimes you have a message you want to get across. But man, sometimes they hold your hand like you're a fool. And they're like, I don't need you to walk me through this 7 times. I get it.
Right.
You know, just you can be a little more vague with it, and don't insult my intelligence.
Yeah. No.
With how you end the movie or how you yeah.
They either go way too far,
Yeah.
and they make you think like you're a child and you don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Or they leave what is known as an open ending.
Mm-hmm.
You know what an open-ended story is? Every other independent film you're going to go see is going to have, a lot of them is going to have an open ending.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they don't tell you how the story ended.
Okay.
To me, that's called cowardice. Like, you didn't have the balls to finish the story and own the end of the story.
Yeah.
you know? But someone said, well, it's an open-ended. You got to sort of come up with what you think the ending is yourself.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I can sit in a room and tell myself a story for free. I don't have to pay for a movie ticket to go to go tell myself a story. But that, that's disrespectful. Sometimes you always want to leave a little question to make you think, but every movie's got to have 3 things. It's got to have a beginning, it's got to have a middle, it's got to have an end.
Yeah.
The people who pay to see this deserve that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see that as a big trope, and even way back when I was in little school.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a story of the Colosseum and the 3 doors, and you know the story I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I think is the man has to decide which of the 2 doors to open.
Right.
I think one of them's a lion, one of them's
I've heard this. It's a fable of some
sort. A beautiful
sort,
woman,
right.
yeah. But they don't tell you the ending.
Right.
They just say the woman tells him, because it's his love.
Right.
And he pick one of the doors. She tells him which one she knows, if it's the lion or the woman.
Right.
So she has to decide: does he die, but you don't want to see him with another woman, or do you let him live with another woman, but you see him live?
Right.
But they don't tell you the ending. They stop.
I think we all know the ending. It's the lion, clearly.
That's what I thought. But it essentially comes down to what you want the story to turn out to be, But again, I'm like, just tell them the ending of the story.
What's the moral? Like,
yeah.
I mean, what are you really teaching someone here?
Yeah.
Hey, figure it the hell out. Like, I mean.
Yeah, and I guess it's more of a question in how do you rationalize what someone's going to do and from a moral standpoint, but it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, tell me the rest of the story. Just give me an ending. I can imagine another ending all I want, or even shoot 2 endings. I see it all the time in movies.
Right. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. That. Well, you know how much gets changed after it goes back to the studio. Talking about big budget films, there's this. People say why I said realize that when people are sitting down to watch an independent film, one of the biggest things that audience members feel proud about is they feel like they're allowed to judge this film because they know where you come from and they know where you work. So they're allowed to talk shitty to you, unless they're your friends who are just trying to make you feel better. But they're allowed to talk crap at you because I know this guy, so I can talk crap at him. He's not real. He's not real. Well, a story is real. If it's written, it's real.
Yeah.
It's there. It doesn't matter whether 1 million people saw it or 1 million people didn't. And the thing I seem to used to get in conflict with people is I would tell them, well, they would be like, this film was really popular. I'm like, that doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah.
Just because someone's popular, because it's popular doesn't mean I have to like it. It's, it's a story. And so they fight so hard in Hollywood for the numbers. And you have to realize that it is a business.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with the business, but you have to realize that it's a business that is derivated by people being entertained and people being appreciated. And the other element is you have to be responsible for how people are going to react to this. Perfect example being Back to the Future. Gotta love Back to the Future.
Yeah.
When they were originally making it, the original story didn't have a car. It actually had a refrigerator. It was a time machine.
Yeah.
One of the producers in Hollywood said, no way in hell it's going to be refrigerated. And the reason why is he said kids are going to watch this movie and then start locking themselves in refrigerators because they think they're gonna. I mean, so that's a responsibility. It was like, I'm gotta be responsible that people will be influenced by this, and it's silly that someone could be influenced by this. But why do we create stories if not to inspire?
Yeah.
So, and then with that understanding that you can inspire, you can get people to think. All you were thinking at the end of that story was, what the hell was the ending? You didn't think about it on a moral stance. You didn't think whether she was right or whether she was wrong. You didn't think whether he was right or he was wrong, because you didn't have an answer. You couldn't make a call because there wasn't an answer to the story.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I have these issues with some of these films not ending without owning whatever the storyline is. And in Hollywood, they get overly worried about certain things. We can't tick off everybody. You know, we want to make sure everybody likes this movie. I think that's like your Avenger films and stuff like that have a tendency to fall into that category. That's the wrong way to go about doing it too. I mean, you should always think about the level of responsibility. You should always think about trueness to whatever story that you're telling, and realize that you're not going to please everybody. It's just, it's just not going to happen. Don't disrespect the text. I mean, it comes from a comic book, so don't disrespect the comic book.
Yeah.
Try to play it best, because those are the people who are going to win it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to make it work. Remember the movie Noah with Russell Crowe?
Yes.
I never saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But it flopped horribly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right. it flopped terribly. Now, which is weird, because typically a Christian film, or I should say a biblical story, will have a natural following. Mm-hmm. You know, from a financial standpoint, it's almost always a fairly safe bet to make one of these films.
Yeah.
Because there's, especially Old Testament, they get Christians and Jews who would be interested in this story. And I was talking to a guy at work, and I said, I heard about the film, and I heard they completely changed the story.
Oh, yeah.
I said, that's stupid. And the guy went off, and he was an atheist, and he went off and said, maybe the story's not true, blah 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 blah. And he went off of me. I said, look, beyond whether the story was fucking true or not, I said, beyond that, I said, look at this from a producer's standpoint.
Yeah.
You have a story based on a book that probably has the largest fan base in the entire world.
Yeah.
With a story that is over 2,000 years old. All right? There's no misinterpretation of this story. The story has stayed the same for like thousands of years. And you think that you have the right to just go ahead and change it, and you think everyone's just going to accept this?
Yeah.
You just slap the face of the largest fan. You could have had a multi-billion-dollar movie if you stuck to this story everybody knew. Yeah. What were you going to gain by this? You're going to get a couple of atheists say, they slapped and you went broke. It went... lost a ton of money.
Yeah.
And
I can, like you said, I could totally understand making small changes.
Right.
Like small ones.
Right.
But I saw most of that movie, and they weren't small changes. Like, they had a couple of events that were similar, but it was nothing like it's played out in the book.
Right.
And I totally get it, but you're right. You can really misstep.
Right. I mean, it's like all of a sudden making Spider-Man, it's like going to Spider-Man. I'm going to make a Spider-Man movie, okay? But instead of him, being called Spider-Man, we'll just call him, we'll call him George. He goes around being called George. Okay, that's stupid. Why would you do? He's Spider-Man. Instead of him having a red costume, we'll have him have a black costume, like Venom. No, we'll actually have him have pointy ears. We'll put a cape on him. All right, and instead of it being a young high school kid, we'll make it a 75-year-old woman. Like, what the hell's the point of all this? Like, you're just going to tell everyone that is a fan of this, everyone who will pay you money. So, from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense either. And that's what I was trying to, and I don't care whether you agree with the story or not. That's for a business standpoint. This was a dumb move, you know? And it showed the way it is. You had a very easy sell. I was going to see the movie until my Christian friends told me, don't, it's dumm.
Yeah.
They changed the story.
It's way off.
I'm like, how do you change the story? This is like, So.
Yeah. And the problem they had with the movie is they went down the same road they went down with Man of Steel, where it tends to have a certain feel to it,
right?
Where it's a little lighter. I mean, yes, there's a huge moral point to it, but they wanted to make it darker and more gritty, and Man of Steel didn't do well either for the same reason.
Yeah.
I personally liked it for
I
that
personally
reason,
like too, but I'm not a Superman fan.
Exactly.
Right, yes.
I don't like Superman. I think
Right,
it's boring,
yeah.
and the fact that they made it a little darker
I
brought
liked
it
it
into my area.
Right.
Right, yeah.
But it's like, I'm glad they did it because I like the movie, you know what I mean? But I wasn't a comic book Superman fan. I mean, so I don't know what they were thinking,
Yeah.
And but if you look at everything in a sense of truth and respect, I've written a lot of scripts. I mean, we made 8 feature films, and I wrote 7 of them myself. So 3 of them were sort of modern day westerns. They were within a story. One was a buddy cop action film, kind of made like Midnight Run.
Yeah.
Another one was a 1940s slapstick comedy, made like an Abbott and Costello film. That was a lot of fun to write. Another one was a sort of chase buddy film. And one of them that we wrote, I didn't write it, but my sister wrote it, is a murder mystery. And
That's
so,
awesome.
like a BBC style murder mystery.
So
we
cool.
get like a really weird variety of tastes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. It's fun. Thank you. So we, someone said, well, I mean, these are your stories. I said, well, not really. He said, what do you mean? I said, why would I take ownership of this? So this is a culmination of the stories that I was told and the information that I was given and the way that I was raised and what I went through in life. And this is just sort of my adaptation of all these elements. I didn't invent storytelling. I didn't invent the murder mystery film.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't invent that genre. I didn't invent buddy cop genre.
Yeah.
You know. And so someone would say, well, would I like the murder mystery film? I'm very proud of it. We did my opinion, a very good job making the style. We actually really made the film that we truly envisioned in our head. We got to see it. And so I said, well, do you like BBC murder mysteries? He goes, no. I said, well, then you're not going to like this film because that's what that's pretty much what we made. If you do like BBC murder mysteries, you may like this one because this one is that type of film.
Yeah.
But respectful for the fact that there is an audience for this. It may not be a large audience, but we're an audience of it. Both me and my sister, we're fans of this type of film. So let's show respect to how we would want to see this type of movie. Show respect to what a murder mystery story is. All right, this is a BBC style murder mystery. So there isn't going to be an alien invasion all of a sudden in it. That's not how these stories. That's not how these stories go. The one thing, a film that didn't do well, and I don't know why, because it was actually based off a comic book and they did it, I guess they stuck pretty closely to it, was Cowboys and Aliens. And one thing I was very surprised by it, that I'm a big Western fan. Mm-hmm. You take out the alien element, even with the alien element, it was a Western. It was a Western, except the only thing that was different was they were fighting aliens.
Yeah.
But the whole premise was Western. The way it was shot, the way they talked, the way the story developed, the way they introduced the villains, everything was done in a Western. So that is like one of the rare occurrences where you can sort of cross a genre. And in my opinion, a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it. And I'm a huge Western. I'm very critique Western. And I like alien invasion movies too. And that was like one of those few times. But it was respectful to the Western genre that they were only going to put these villains, the alien villains, in a way that fit with the Western story, the Western movie. And so, and like that to me, you have to respect, the people who have come before you, and explore a little bit, but understand where the borders are, understand, so.
Yeah, and like you said, you can shift borders, but maybe gradually.
Maybe, be careful, like give people a little bit of heads up, and that's respect to the audience. Give them a little bit of heads up, this is not going to be the film you're anticipating. Right, so, give them a little bit of a warning on that, so, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to chat your ear off.
No, that's totally fine. We're actually going to take a quick break for the sponsors, so everyone hold tight. So the groundwork is laid out for my new book. I'm super excited to show it all to you. We've got the forwards pretty much ready, good to go. The content, everything, the questions I'm going to ask, everything is almost ready. So now I'm going to start reaching out to the businesses I want to implement into the book so I can tell you their stories. But it's not going to take too long. So I'm hoping by October time frame, we'll be set, ready to go, and our book will be out there for everyone. So everyone stay tuned on that. It's going to be phenomenal. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I love everything about this conversation because you had said it earlier, movies are business. A lot of people in a lot of industries, namely churches, education, and like stuff like that, they don't realize they're businesses. Yeah, but they are.
Right. Yes. Right? Depends upon what they're selling.
Yeah.
What their audience is and what people are expecting out of it. Right.
Yeah, but a lot of them don't realize what they are.
Yeah.
And you're right. What they're expecting is a little bit different, but that's why I wanted to have this conversation because it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, because there's tons of different levels of people who make movies, and I love, like, me and my wife, we have a passion for, like, super B-list horror movies. Love them to death. They're hysterical.
My brother loves the super B-list monster, shark attack movies and stuff
they're
like
so
that.
fun.
Yeah,
yeah. And
he keeps going, when are you going to make one of those? He keeps asking me that.
But like, but I don't know if you're familiar with the series, but what was it? It's called. Sorry, it's been so long since I've looked at them, but it was the it's a After Dark Horror Fest.
Yeah.
They did like 8 movies to die for, and they did them a whole bunch of years. But it showed that you could take amateur movies and actually really do a good job with horror genre, because I don't know what it is about horror, but I can never get them to release good horror movies. Like, they never do a good job.
I don't know why. Like, I'm like one of the few filmmakers. I feel like I'm the only filmmaker who never really wanted to make a horror movie. There's a couple of reasons. One is I get scared really easily. Like, I'm a little kid. I don't like graphic stuff. That, and like, people tell me it's really cheap, and I never seen why it's really cheap, because makeup is very time consuming and it's very expensive.
Yeah.
I could see, me and my sister, we produce films together. We've talked about making a suspense horror film.
Yeah.
Something more along the lines like the 1950s sort of like, type of films. The lack of scary thing. Those you can see as being like a fiscally easier thing to do.
Yeah.
But there's so many horror films, but they can be made on the cheap because there is such a hunger for them.
Yeah.
And people seem to really like it. And I think people have a tendency to lean more towards one or the other. One is either a super, super, super serious one. You're talking like The Conjuring.
Okay.
Which I saw. I was forced to watch. Someone bought me dinner and said, you have to watch this movie. And I'm like clinging to the guy like a little kid because this movie scared the hell out of me. Great movie. I don't know if you've ever seen The Conjuring. I loved it. That type of mixture of old and new stuff element that was really, really cool. That and like the so cheap, like you were talking about, bad horror movie that is just fantastic, And to me, I was like my B films were always like the really cheap, cheesy martial arts movie, like The Protector 75 or something like that, and so that but those little B movies I always thought could be real. I would look to them to some inspiration, because even though they were cheap, and even though they're cheap, there's a level of sometimes you find yourself getting lost in those films and that little world. Sometimes easier than you do a big budget film, in my opinion, anyways.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And I think a big reason is that is, you put out a movie and you have what the director wants, right? And then however the rest of the process, then you have what the focus group wants. So maybe they have to go back and reshoot the movie to add something. I think this is the problem Suicide Squad had.
Yeah.
Dude, shit.
We go off air?
No, my camera stopped running, though, which is quite
it's
odd.
my face.
No, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
That was really weird. Why would it do that? I don't know.
We're experiencing technical difficulty. Been there, done that.
No. Yeah, I'd be so mad if the entire interview was just off. Whatever, it's working. The audio is running. I don't care.
Audio,
even if I have to do audio, I don't care. So, but Suicide Squad had the same issue because they wanted something from it, and then the focus group was like, no, we want more funny. So they had to go back and redo a bunch of stuff, and you're like, just leave it the way it should be, because the director has an idea, and he has a vision that he wants to see.
It could have been such a fantastic movie. You could feel it. There was some elements of it. Now, again, I wasn't a fan of the comic, and there's some parts I really loved. It felt too long. It was trying too hard to be emotional. I didn't get that, It was like it felt kind of scatterbrained, like there's too many ideas going around.
Yeah, and then that's probably what happened.
But when you have like these B films, it's usually a very small crew.
Yeah.
And no one will make enough money. And one of the things I've gotten contradicted on was I don't feed my crew on set. There's no catering.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because when I first started going to filmmaking, I actually looked up what budgets were when I was a teenager. Surprisingly enough, I did this type of research, which is still surprising me. And almost all the budgets, almost in the entire element of a budget of an independent film, went into catering. Now, it's expensive to feed food. So I said, all right, I'll do this. I'll keep the shoots much shorter. So they're not there long enough to get hungry, because I can't afford it. It was flat out. It wasn't that I didn't want to. Flat out, I couldn't afford to buy food for people.
Yeah.
Want to
It's
why?
way too much.
It's expensive. You have 4 kids.
Yeah.
Is food cheap?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Yes. All right. You know, and actors are like little vacuums. They just suck up all the food that is around them. Yeah. Wasn't there a plastic bag with these chips too? Where did that go?
Wow, that's so funny.
And so I finally found out that you had people would show up on set that just wanted to be a part of this film. And I think when you have those little B films, you have only the people who really want to be a part of this movie, who like this type of genre. And I think that's the reason why sometimes they have a much more ability to get lost in it, the charm.
Yeah. And like you said, like there's less hands, which is what I think is the most important, is there's less hands between the director and his vision and what comes out on scene.
Yes.
What comes out in video. And I think, again, like you wouldn't take Picasso, let him draw, and then be like, no, we want to change these couple of parts because to make it better for the focus group.
Right, yeah.
No, you let the art come out the way it's supposed to come out, and you leave it in the hands of the artist.
Yes.
And it makes no sense why they wouldn't do that.
Right. Now, but you said you were in the Army, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then you understand what a chain of command is.
Yeah.
There's no different when you're on set.
Yeah.
Someone's got to have a final say. And this whole idea that no one's a boss and no one's actually in charge is bullshit. It doesn't get anything done that way. And you have a mess. You have to have people who are willing to, you have to have a leader who's willing to take input. By the end of the day, he's still got to make sure you're staying in focus. You're going in the direction that you want to do. So you have your director and your main producer, typically, is the best way to go about doing it. Then you have people who, you let the actors have a dictation on their character. Everyone's their own little world. The lighting guy, his world is the lighting, so he has to say on a lot of the lighting, on the condition the director sees that it's still pushing the story forward. And then the actor is their own little world, so they have to dictate a lot of elements of their character that the director doesn't have a say on. To a degree, on the condition it pushes the storyline forward, and keeping those hands out of the pie, so you're in charge of this and you're in charge of that, and I just make sure that we all kind of stay going in the right direction. I think is what keeps things going, and then owning whatever it is you do. It's like, great, this is the decision, we're going to go with this.
You gotta own it.
Yeah, you have to own it, right? You try too hard, and because if you try too hard to be afraid of, you're just going to wreck it anyways.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
I love, like, we have a lot of similarities when it comes to what we do. Like, I write stories and books and all that stuff. I've never gotten into the film side of it. I mean, I would love to, and I have an idea of some things I would love to do, but I write in the fantasy realm, which is just pain in the butt when you're talking money and stuff like that. Yeah. So
we're looking into making one right now, and all of a sudden we're like, we're not going to make this anytime soon. This is way too complicated.
I have this one book that, if I could turn it into a movie, I think it would be phenomenal, especially as you put money into the special effects and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Think like, I hate fucking saying this. So anyway, I started writing the book back when I was in school. So you're talking about the time the towers were bombed, 2001.
Oh wow, that's a while ago.
So long time ago. But since then, plenty of things have come out similar. Correct? So
I have been down that. Fucking, I had that story. I had it. Why didn't I do something with it?
So think Game of Thrones meets Avatar, like Last Airbender.
Yep.
And that's the kind of world you're kind of talking about. And it's really cool, and the story's phenomenal.
A lot more mystical with the...
Yeah, and it's much darker, and it's much more realistic.
Right,
and, it's not very kid-friendly.
Yeah.
But it's way more fun, and it's definitely not Avatar Last Airbender, because it came out before those stories. But, so it's something like that, but of course I have nearly the budget or the experience. So I'm eventually going to find someone and be like, here, make the freaking movie.
Well, first thing you do is like, I get approached, and this is very, very important. If you're a script writer and you don't have a script, you're not a script writer.
Yeah.
If you're a filmmaker and you don't have a film, you're not a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And so the first thing you do, I tell people, is do your job.
Yeah.
If you're the script writer, get the script written. And if you get the script written, cool. Now find someone else to do their job.
Yeah.
But you won't, if you don't have something, you have nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just, and so if you have this, and because I get called all the time to say, oh, I got the story idea. I'm like, and I hate it when I get those calls because I don't want to, because it's like, I want to make my stories, but it's difficult enough to get mine focused,
Yeah.
And so I will say, well, let me see the script, because I'll read the script. For the most part, I'll almost always read the script. It's one kid I felt bad. I never actually finished the script, and I just said, I kept telling him, look, hassle me. I'm a busy guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not against reading the script, but I've got other things going on. If you call me up and just tell me, did you read the script? I'm going to eventually just be annoyed by you, and I'll read the damn script. But to get your part of the job done, then you say, okay, now what's the next step? I was my new job. I was telling you, I have a day job because every artist needs a day job. If you're listening to this, okay, it's not a joke. That's the thing that keeps you alive. And as long as it helps push your agenda forward, as long as the job doesn't take away from your life, it supports the thing that you want to support. That you're trying to, the direction you're trying to go in. I was told I have to audit everything that was in this warehouse. There was a ton of stuff. It means everything has to be audited and logged. And I almost had like a little panic attack. If my boss is listening to this, I did it though, so don't be mad. I said, okay, you know what? So do one item at a time. Just do one item. Start with one item, get it done. In the new Justice League movie, there's a scene where Flash starts flipping out. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. Flash starts flipping out, and he goes over to Batman. He says, "I can't rescue. I can't. I'm not a hero. I don't fight. I don't do battle and everything like that." And Batman just says, "Look, do me a favor, all right? Save one person." He goes, "Okay, then what?" He says, "Then you'll know what to do."
Yeah.
And that I thought that's a really good example. Like, get one scene done, or get one word done, and then get another word done, and then and then move on, then move on from there. Once you have a script, you may now know how you actually want to see this. So then from there, you may find someone to help you draw the concept art. Yeah. And from there, that person may say, you may see it, and it'll give you the next step to say, okay, now I know what the next step is I got to do. And that's those little steps. You can't look at it from a big perspective. Start off with the thing you need to get done. No film gets done without a story. You have a story. And no script is capable without a story. So you have a story. Now it needs a script, and now it needs a film, and now it needs a crew, and now it needs a film, and now it needs an editor, and now it needs an audience, and now, and then restart everything again.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. So just let's do that, and then everything else will start to follow at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Talking about the Justice League movie, which also didn't get very good ratings.
No.
Like, that's probably the one scene that I think is the best scene of the movie.
It is probably the best scene of the movie.
That one scene you were just talking about.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Flash is my favorite superhero, generally.
Right.
But you're right. That one scene stands out because it's like, out of all of the other superheroing, for whatever reason, that one
scene
stands out.
had a lot of weight to it.
Yeah, like, he's actually teaching another superhero. Like,
yeah.
There's something about that scene of, like, passing on that knowledge, and it's, like, the only scene in the movie that I'm like, that was actually really good.
I in general liked the movie, but that scene stuck out the most.
Yeah.
I think I probably liked it because everyone told me how shitty it was, and then I finally saw it on the flight I was flying over to Europe.
Yeah.
And I hate flying, so I have to watch something. Okay, Batman, cool. I'll put I'll put this in, and I started watching. I didn't think it deserved the berating that it got.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best. Absolutely wasn't the best superhero movie I've seen. It wasn't. It was pretty good, I thought. But that scene in particular was great.
Yeah.
Like, that little moment was just, it had nothing to do with any special effects. It had nothing to do with, just a little human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean,
I don't do battle. I just push people and run away. Like, it's a great line.
It's hysterical. It's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? It actually just gave me an idea. I love, like I said, I love horror movies. I love military type stuff because in the military. I want to do, because now I have all the gears spinning in my head, which will never get done, but it'll be fun to plan it out anyway.
Start
like
one.
A military horror movie where, like, realistic military action functions, so it's not like you typically see in B-rated movies.
Yeah.
But, like, a serious, like you said, suspense where you don't actually get to see.
Well, kind of similar to Predator.
It's actually going
right.
Similar,
yeah. Minus the macho gun tactics, right?
Yeah, because that's still a little much. Though, yeah. And
great movie, but that's
not I think
realistic.
that would be pretty cool, and I think it would be. Yeah, I'll figure that one out.
Yeah, step by step. They did something similar to that, which is like, what was it? Battle Los Angeles. I saw that.
Battle LA was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I know they had a lot of actual Marines teaching, but I don't know. I'm not a military guy, so I don't know how accurate it was in tactics.
The funniest movie I was thinking about is Range 13.
Oh my God, is that made by the coffee guys? Yeah, those yes,
Black
the
Rifle
Black
Coffee.
yes, Black Rifle Coffee guys.
Oh my God.
William Shatner's in that, right?
Yes. That movie is hysterical,
Right.
because it's all veteran made, produced.
Right.
Everyone in the movie is veterans.
Yeah.
But I wanted, so what I was thinking of, like something like that, but serious. So
Right.
it wasn't like a comedy.
Was that movie good?
It's military. Like,
Okay.
if you understand the just the dark humor of being
Right.
in the army, then it's entertaining. I should
Right.
say. I shouldn't say it's good or not. It's entertaining. Don't go into it with super expectations.
All
You
right.
know?
I love those guys do such awesome videos
Yeah.
that just I've watched all. What was it like? The ISIS button to me was like, you ever see
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh my God, that's those guys are wrong. I got a whole bunch of their coffee for Christmas. My
Yeah.
dad got me for Christmas. He got me a whole bunch of their coffee.
Yeah.
Black Rifle coffee. Oh my God, it's actually really good coffee too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty strong for a guy.
There was Silencer Smooth, which is like your afternoon coffee. I kid you not. It's what they call it. AK-47 Dark, Basic Black. I think like so they have all these
Yeah.
like weapon sounding names. And some of it is like really heavy duty. Some of it is smooth. They have a pretty. I got like 4 or 5 bags of it, but it was. Now we're talking about coffee. Well, I'm a filmmaker. We have to talk about coffee. Yeah.
That's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, we're running up on what's typically way longer than a normal interview for me.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I love it. A lot of guests are again nervous. You have a lot of experience, and they just. It's harder to talk for a long time, and they don't engage me in questions. And so, if you're listening to me, feel free to have a conversation. Like, that's the point of these shows,
Sorry if I was overrunning you. I didn't mean that.
No, it's exactly what I want the show to be. Because I don't know if you know what Joe Rogan is.
Yeah. Oh, I love Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So his podcast is like 2-3 hours long each.
Yeah.
That's what I originally wanted this to be, but with an entrepreneurial focus.
Right.
But a lot of people can't talk for that long.
Yeah.
So, but I would love to sit down and have like these cool, powerful conversations of real in-depth stuff like we've been talking about, and then
of getting it done.
Yeah. Like,
that to me is always get it done.
Yeah.
What's the next step to getting it done? As I said, you have an idea, cool. Write a storyline. You have a storyline, cool. Now write a script. Now find a filmmaker. Now find, and that, there are steps to doing it. And it's not always money. And people want to say, money's the answer. And they use that as an excuse to hide.
Yeah.
And but I'm sorry to interrupt, but not a huge difference on the entrepreneurial side versus the video production side, except usually entrepreneurial people have a bit more of a working mentality, which is what I think the artistic world needs an understanding that that's how you get it done. It's not, So, sorry, I didn't mean it.
No, that's fine.
Right.
Because I was going to say, there's a book called The One Thing. It kind of talks about what you're talking about. Is a lot of it comes from, you have a little domino.
Right.
Then you knock over that domino, and the force of that domino will knock over one 33% bigger than itself.
Yeah.
And that one can knock over one 33% bigger than itself. And eventually, you can knock over the skyscraper that you thought was unobtainable.
Right.
Just because you set the pieces up properly, and you started the motion with the little domino.
Right.
So it's kind of like that. You're like, you can get everything going. You'd be surprised how much easier it is to get money if you have even the framework of something in the works already.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I need to get money to make the movie. I'm like, well, start making the movie, and you'll find a sponsor.
Yeah.
Like, you'll find people that want to sponsor it.
It's a catch-22. Prove you're worth it in order to get some worth.
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially. And but it works.
Yeah.
And even for the show, like, I didn't start the show to find sponsors.
Right.
I started doing the show. We're like 115 episodes in now, or more.
That's awesome.
I forget. And we're finding sponsors that want to be on this type of program.
Right.
So it's important, but you got to do the work first.
Oh yeah, you got to prove you're worthy. I mean, essentially, internships have changed now.
Yeah.
But that's what an internship was. You didn't get paid crap or anything at all sometimes, but you worked to prove that you were, that you were worth it, and then you if you are not just given things for free, you begin to find out what it is you really want, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if you work for it, a lot of times, because we're lazy. I mean, we're survivalists, kind of down to our nature. So we're not going to put up with a lot of crap without getting much benefit.
Yeah.
And if we're not really appreciating being a part of the film world, like I have really never gotten paid. I've gotten very little money for making films, whether being an actor or whatever. But I just love the atmosphere so much that I'm willing to work a day job as much as I can, as much as I need to, in order to keep focus and keep ending up on set. And that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
All right.
So people that want to get in touch with you, either here's a good question: can people watch your movies?
They can watch some of them, yes. We're going to be getting a few more up later this year on Amazon Prime. We've made a decision. We tried doing some film festival routes, but our films don't lend towards film festivals. So, you know what? We said we're going to get them up on Amazon Prime. We have a YouTube channel where we have a web series called Artists and Idiots. It's a comedic web series. We have like 30-something episodes on that. I haven't filmed one in a while. That's a everything is under Narrow Street Films banner. Yeah. Narrow Street, fully spelled out films. You know. Yes, we have a Facebook page, website. My Twitter handle, I think, is to look me up, Terry Traynor on Twitter. You can follow me on that, but I think my Twitter handle is Walker Texas Terry right now. I think, which is a nickname someone used to give me because I used to kick stuff at work. He says you like roundhouse kick everything, so I'm going to start calling you that. That's or Jean-Claude Van Terrence, which I like that one too.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that'd be the best way to get in touch with us. So.
Okay. Awesome. So thank you so much for joining me and having this conversation. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's been a blast. Thank you very much for having me. All right.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Wow, I messed that up. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to have our last word from our sponsors, and everyone have a great day. It's an amazing thing. Here on the Hampshire Business Show, I have funnels that do things like bring me clients to come onto the show, sell some of my products, do all this stuff. And I can do all of that while I'm sleeping. It's fantastic. So head over to nhbusinessshow.com/funnels to find out how you can get all those systems in place for yourself.